Hello, hello, and welcome to a new episode of Ramblings from Two Meddling Kids. I'm Edward Hunt, joined by my co-host,
Mike,
and we are the Meddling Kids. And oh, what is this? Ghostface! Ghostface is here! It's a Ghostface! We're also joined by a very lovely friend of ours, who is
We're gonna unmask the killer really quick. hello. My name is Shae. I'm a friend of Michael Cunningham and Edward. We go way back.
Full name, Jesus.
full government. That's how we do here.
I'm like they were saying earlier. They were like, "Oh yeah, you're kind of an expert on horror. Don't listen to them." I'm a self-proclaimed horror enthusiast at best.
I feel like that's most horror experts.
Borderline a film scholar here, but yeah.
So our friend Shae, especially around like Halloween time frame, she just goes ham on like horror movies, and she's seen all of them, I think, multiple times. And a little bit of background, like for me, for instance, I've seen Scream 1, Scream 2, and Scream 6, so I'm missing a little bit here in the middle. Shae, have you seen all the Screams before?
I've seen all the Screams, yes. This one only once. I wanted to do a second viewing.
I believe in plural, it's scrums.
But no, like I saw Scream 1 when it came out. I mean, I was 3-4 years old watching horror movies, so I've been watching them my whole life. That's not even a joke.
So did you say it? You were just in the
no,
room.
really, I was young watching horror movies. So yeah, I've seen probably 1 through 4 at least 10 times each. That's not an exaggeration either. The 5th one I was a little cold on, but this one was, well, we'll get there. But yes, I've seen it.
I feel like that's interesting because I feel like the 4th one was very much, a lot of people were cold on. It was the 5th one that really reinvigorated the franchise.
I think more from a critic's perspective, critics were like 5 a lot more than 4, but as far as like fans, or at least the people that I talked to, they think 4 is a better movie than 5.
I mean,
yeah,
but we can talk.
No, don't call me an expert. They're lies.
Well, awesome. So yeah, for those of you just joining us for the first time, or if you want a quick recap, so with the grad, Shae can join us today and provide a little bit more detail, especially if I'm missing some of the Scream lore, but. How we like to do things is we'll first do a spoiler-free review. That's just a scale of 0 to 5 of our thoughts on the movie and any ideas we had about it. But we won't spoil anything, so if you haven't seen Scream yet, don't stress out. Listen to our spoiler-free review, then decide if you want to go. From there, we'll have background, budget, all of that, the actors and actresses in it, and then we'll give you a play-by-play and have our commentary as we're going along, kind of like you're there watching the movie with us. All right. So again, if you haven't seen it yet, hang out for another 5-10 minutes and then decide. Just make sure you come back later. All right. But for our spoiler-free review, Mike, can you start us off? What do you think?
So I'm trying to do better with giving the rating before I talk.
Right.
I give this a 4. So, or maybe 3.5, but because of the ending. But what I will say is I think it was entertaining. So Shae can speak to this better than I can, but it was I don't really like the meta-ness of a lot of things now because I feel like it's overdone, a bit corny and a bit played out. But I think for a horror movie, which most people know I do not like horror. I hate but it was I had to remember that most slashers they're more thrillers than horrors, right? It was the scares come from more your soundtracks, your the audio
jump
than
scares,
the actual what's happening on screen. Yeah, but no, it was just I think the story was great. Like I said, I hadn't really seen. I was familiar with Scream 5, but I hadn't actually seen it. But it was I think the story went well. The acting was great. Like I said, I didn't really enjoy the meta-ness of it. I feel like that's kind of played out at this point. I think Scream in 1996, when it originated, that was fine. Even Scream 2 in 97, when the next one came out, the meta-ness was cool, but it was at this point it's overdone. You have Rick and Morty, you have Velma, so many things being very self-aware of it, and it was it's kind of played out. But no, I think the acting was great. I think Jenna Ortega is I obviously she's on a rise with everything she's done with Wednesday this year. Sorry, last year alone. And you and like so many things she's done. Even like the sister. I don't know. The sister has been on a lot of like Mexican cinema, so it's like she's not really known in America, but she was great. I think the acting was great. The story was cool. Like I said, until the end. So yeah, I give 3.5. I'll give 3.5. Sorry, instead of back it up. Like I said, I feel like I ramble so much that I forget to actually rate the movie. But I actually enjoyed it. For somebody that does not like horror, I kind of liked where the story went. It just, I think it collapsed in that last act.
Cool, I can dig it. Shae, what'd you think?
So I try to be careful on first viewings before I give my review. Unfortunately, I didn't get to see this for a second time. However, and I know it's easy to have those rose-colored glasses on when you see a film for the first time and you want to say it's the best this, but I'm gonna give this a 4.5.
Nice. Okay.
I thought this was really good. Going off of what you were saying, Cunningham, about like the meta-ness, I feel like Velma and Rick and Morty, they got meta because Scream existed. Like Scream fundamentally is meta. And I think if they started to change that and stopped, talking about horror nuances, it wouldn't be Scream anymore. And I think film enthusiasts particularly love those aspects of it. But yeah, I thought. I mean, I was like I said, I was kind of cold on 5. I wasn't a big fan of Melissa Barrera. What's her name? Miss Melissa. In number 5 is kind of like I didn't think her acting was great. Like there was a scene in 5 where she's crying and a tear doesn't come out. So I was kind of really dry on her. Jenna Ortega is phenomenal. I could talk about her all day. I think she is so great. I love that she's getting so many more opportunities. I don't know if we needed Hayden Panettiere. We'll get into that a little bit more. But overall, I thought the story was really good. Kills were great. Yeah, I would.
Well, we'll talk about kills because first of all, I think knives do way more in this film than they actually do in real life.
Yeah, we gotta.
I'm just like, I see somebody get stabbed and then they run a full marathon.
Yeah,
I'm just like,
there was some stuff in the end with this. I'm just like, she just got stabbed in the stomach. Why is she just running fine right now? But hey.
She's like, you know what? I think I need to go to the store right quick.
Yeah, there's one in particular. I won't spoil it yet, but we'll get there. But there's one at the end that I was like, what the heck? Yeah, somebody's just, they get 100%. Crazy.
Yeah.
Now I'm excited to get stabbed. I mean, I don't want to get shot because apparently bullets are bad, but knives aren't that bad.
Experiences were guys, but I did the 4DX. Do you guys know what that is?
Oh no! So that's I'm really excited.
Okay.
So we talked about it earlier. It was like
Scream 4DX.
She was worried about doing 4D because I was like,
well, no.
Yeah,
it really
it's not that deep for me, my dealer. No, I can
so
imagine being
immersive.
stabbed. I don't need to actually be stabbed.
People in the aisles that come up and actually stab you. It's insanity.
No, I think they're called the unhoused. People just stab me instead. I don't. She was like, some dude spit directly in my face. It was so immersive.
Yeah, I'm walking around bleeding, and it was great. No, but no, and maybe that bullying may have contributed to why I don't think so actually, but it may have contributed to why I enjoyed the film so much. We'll get into that, but yeah, definitely 4.5. I would, if I watch this for a second time, and that rating may go down, but that's how I feel about it right now. I thought it was very well constructed, very well done. Post Wes Craven. So, yeah.
Cool. Absolutely. Sweet. Thank you. Yeah. So we have a 3.5 and a 4.5. I'm gonna say also a 3.5. I recognize I don't fully know all of the nuances of Scream, so there were parts where I'm like, I remember watching it and I was like, I should feel happier about this, or I should have a stronger connection to that character because
when Gil got punched in the face, he was like, I mean, that's
but
you had to see the person to understand what that was.
Yeah, but I do recognize, especially from an educational perspective or theoretical, I've heard just how much of an impact Scream has had on the meta movement and how integral a player it was in that. So I respect that a lot about Scream. So even though there were definitely times when you're like, oh, this is a franchise now, it's different. Like they like gave a full description at one point, and this isn't really a spoiler, of like, we're in a franchise, not a film series. So it's like a sequel, and this is different. There are new rules. And I was like, wow, this is meta. Okay. I'm like, so with that, it did take me out of it a little bit at times. But as a whole, as someone who doesn't really know any of these characters that well, who wasn't fully there, I was entertained thoroughly for like the entire time. There was some stuff that was a little unbelievable, but it's a horror movie. There you go. People need to stop letting people up, all I'm saying. That's every horror movie. When you knock someone over. Yeah. But
it's called Snoop Muck Duck Him and
yeah, exactly. But I mean, as a whole, I enjoyed it a lot, and from like start to finish, I was like, oh, this is fun. And then, from what I remember of seeing Scream 1, because I've seen Scream 1 actually a bunch, like, so original horror movies, like, the original Nightmare on Elm Street, original Friday 13th, original. I'm just like, I'm always like, I haven't seen any of the sequels, but I've seen the original of all of these a ton, and like, I like those a lot. So from that, I did really appreciate and enjoy Scream 6. So I'm gonna say 3.5 myself, but
I would even recommend for both of you, I don't know if you've seen the other ones, to see the other ones. So for example, like what you said, Ed, about them talking about, oh, we're in a franchise. They do that in pretty much every single Scream film. So like in 5, I don't know if you guys seen 5, but they were saying how it's a requel, which is it may sound pretentious. It's why people hate film people, but it is that's a term that people are using, where it's a remake that's a sequel in.
I think what's interesting, so like I was telling you this, Ed, earlier. It was just like the character that does it is Mindy, who is the niece of Randy, who did it in the originals. So it's just like, it is very much. But I think, like I said, I think because it's so common now. So you have, we talked about Rick and Morty, we talked about fucking Velma, She-Hulk. So many shows do it now where they're very much aware of the fact that there's shows, that it's not new anymore. It's not a nuance. The same thing when we talk about what is it? Avatar. Right? Avatar was dope in 2009. Because of whatever it accomplished. But it was like, it's not the same in 2020 because we've had the fucking MCU. We've seen visual effects. So I think the same thing with fucking being meta is it's not as cool. It's not as dope anymore because of the fact that we've had years of people being meta.
Fair. Okay.
And it was like, I think that's the not the frustration, but it was like that's the you lost your thing.
What you gotta understand about our
people are doing this
horror watchers is that we like our ego strokes. So when they say words like that, like we're like, oh yeah, I know what that means. So I mean, they're.
You know what's interesting about your horror watches is the fact that, I mean, we'll talk about it in the background, but it was like this franchise hasn't done well in the years since Scream came out. So it was like, y'all don't really like being told that you're but
I will agree though.
Like the first Scream made the most money, and then after that, it's nothing but diminishing returns.
I think this one's gonna. We'll see. I haven't looked at the numbers yet, but
we'll see. We will see.
I'm predicting that they're going to announce a Scream 7 by Monday.
Okay.
I mean, I think that's the thing. It was just like, all right. So we were talking about, all right. So there's talking about franchises. There's Nightmare on Elm Street. There's Halloween. There's another white man, terrorizing some small town. But it was just like every single franchise has been hard. Like the first movie made the most, and then everything else was trash. And then like there might be something 30 years later that was cool, and then it's the same shit where it's garbage.
Friday the 13th like that, sir.
I mean, you can
not gonna let you disrespect Nightmare on Elm Street like that, sir.
We can move on. I think that's what.
And then closing up thoughts too, I will just touching on Shae's point. I will say, and this was a positive thing, is it did make me want to watch all the others. I was like I remember telling Mike when we got out of the theater, I was like, oh man, I gotta watch
you
all of
felt
them
wrong.
now. What's up? Yeah.
He said, who the hell are these white people? What's going on here?
No, but I was like, man, I truly want to watch like all of the the Screams now. We could watch all the Nightmare on Elm Streets too, but all the Screams now. I'm like, let's check them out and like kind of do a marathon of sorts. So I think I'm going to try and make sure I work through all of them as well. But cool. But I think our consensus is, everybody, 3.5, 3.5, 4.5.
Yeah.
It's a solid movie. Check it out. It's definitely worth seeing. If you've seen other Screams, if you are a horror fan, watch it.
Scrums, dum-dum.
Scrums, if you've seen all the other Scrums. But even if you don't fully know what's going on, for instance, like me, it doesn't really take it away. You still have, as Shae said, good kills. You still have like good build-ups a lot. So I'd say, yeah, check it out. All right, before we get into our background and play-by-play, a quick word from our sponsors, moi, and anyone else that would like to be a sponsor. But I'm a real estate agent here in the DMV, DC, Maryland, Virginia. So if you would like any advice on anything in the home buying process, selling or renovations or lending, feel free to hit me up anytime. I have phenomenal lenders, phenomenal contractors, and I can help guide you with what's going on in the market. And a huge perk is, you all right there, Mike? A huge perk is...
I'm responding to shit.
Oh, okay. No, you're good. And a huge perk is Compass is my brokerage. We are a nationwide brokerage. And so no matter where you are in the country, I can hook you up with some phenomenal agents. I know agents basically in every major city and state now at this point in time. So even if you're not in DC, Maryland, Virginia, we still got you. Any other plugs we need for right now? All right.
No.
Cool. Sounds great. Thank you so much.
Sorry.
Who's your favorite plug? Yeah.
I don't know why I say loud and shit. He said not while I'm pouring.
I don't know if you can hear it or
The
not.
loudest beverage she's
But
ever poured.
listen, this is the last time we invite a guest on this podcast.
I think because you're pouring it directly in front of the mic, where you're just like,
No. This is great. I love it.
I said, Shae, why did you bring your microphone into the bathroom? Why are you peeing directly into the
Come on,
bathroom?
I'm so sorry. Wait, so you can hear me opening the cans?
Oh, God. No, you're good.
That's what, all of my reactions were watching your reaction and not realizing
What this was, and you didn't know, it's really ASMR. Oh, we just lost it.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, we
We're
did a bunch
transitioning
of
into
respect. Go on.
tappity 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 tap. But yeah, all right, cool. Let's get some background on this thing.
He said, well.
Okay. Yeah, we lost you. Did we lose you? You still here?
So yeah, let's get some background on Scream. How's everything going?
Okay.
Oh, background. All right. Scream 6 obviously came out this year, 2023. It is a sequel to Scream 5, which was just named Scream. I'm getting tired of fucking.
Well, it was a requel.
Anything, Cunningham. Anything horror, you have something to bitch about. It's okay.
How dare they? Love Top Gun. Shut up. Directed by Matt Bellatini and Tyler Gillet, who did who wrote and directed the last Scream that came out. Runtime 2 hours and 3 minutes, which honestly didn't seem that long. I respect that. Like, I think they packed it in enough. Maybe third act drag, but it didn't seem that long. The release date, we said March 10th, 2023. Budget $35 million. We'll see. I think it's projected to make $35 to $45 million this weekend.
Nice. Okay.
Which I think that's what's frustrating about horror is like budget's low as fuck, but
why is that
usually
frustrating?
the returns are
Because
great.
you don't.
Because of the fact that they
my
didn't do much
God.
work.
Because he said horror is a it's art. It's subpar art. That's what Michael just
I'm
said.
sorry.
Yeah.
Before we move on.
I hate the fact that y'all call me my
Before we
name.
move on,
Okay.
I think that we as film lovers need to all acknowledge that horror films, particularly, are getting better. I know that people hate when I use this word, elevated horror, but it exists, and there are some well done.
Okay, elevated horror is barbarian.
Hereditary,
Respect.
Midsommar. I mean, The Lighthouse. People consider that elevated horror, and they're quality films. I mean, that
Really?
it's
I didn't know that.
yeah. I've
Lighthouse
another
horror?
podcast I contribute to.
The Lighthouse.
Once again, you're the expert. I'm just,
Yeah, I mean,
just
I
a
guess
dumb
there's
dumb in the back.
horrifying elements to it. Personally, I wouldn't say it's horror, but it's. I think it's cat. Actually, let me look that up. I don't want to just say things.
No.
I don't think that's hard. But no. So what I will say is about being, when I say it's frustrating, is because of the fact that since it costs so little, there is no reason to get better because of the fact that we did this in a weekend. So it's just like your big budget stuff. It costs you so much money. It didn't get a return, so you need to do better in a way. But it was like if it costs you nothing. But once again, Snoop Dogg in the back.
I'm gonna turn you into a horror fan. I might have to
You shit.
There's some really good horror to appreciate out there. I promise you.
Absolutely.
The key words in this podcast will be scrumptious.
What did I say? Did I say the Irishman?
screens.
I meant the Lighthouse. What did I say? Oh, did I?
No, you said the Lighthouse. Yeah, the Lighthouse
You
with
said the
Willem
Lighthouse.
Dafoe and Pattinson. Yeah, I don't know if I really felt that was hard, but that was a
I don't think that's
phenomenal
hard.
movie.
Yeah.
It says horror.
I feel like that's more
drama,
drama, more
Okay. Huh. Cool.
I think because it was in black and white, and it's super.
I mean, and also like their
Wow.
mental, seeing their mental just decline in front of you. This is not the movie we're talking about. Anyway, keep going.
The Lighthouse, though, phenomenal
Great,
movie. Check
yeah.
out the Lighthouse. Just throwing that out there. Right?
Anyway, back to fucking Scream 6, Scrum 6. All right, so the budget, 35 mil. I think it's projected to make 35 to 40 mil this weekend. We'll see.
Cover costs
tomorrow or Monday. For right now, Rotten Tomatoes is at 79 for audience score, 93 for
critics.
What is? Sorry, critics score is 79, 93 for audience.
Okay.
But I just think Scream has a
Heavy
very heavy fan base, so it's just like they're gonna love. Outside of 3 and 4, they're gonna love whatever you put out. The genre is horror, mystery, thriller, and like I said, I think that's why I enjoyed it so much because of the fact that I do not like horror. This was more thriller, more suspense. Slashers get there because of the fact that, and we'll talk about like my issue with the more supernatural aspect of it. It's starring Melissa Barrera as Sam from Scream 5, Jenna Ortega. Tara, we have Jasmine Savoy Brown as Mindy, Mason Gooding, Chad, Tony Revolori as Jason. Sorry about that. We have Courtney Cox reprising her role as Gail Weathers. I mean, I think she's the only mainstay
legacy character. That's what we call them.
Franchise.
Legacy.
There we go. Sorry. I don't like being shouted at, but I respect it. Hayden Panettiere as Kirby Reed from Scream 4. Yeah. Once again, we have these certain characters from the franchise returning. I think so we have the tagline for this one is New York, New Rules, which was interesting because I feel like for the most part, outside of the was it Woodsboro, shit like that. Woodbridge.
The town?
I think
it's Woodsboro.
Was it Woodsboro?
Like Willingsburg.
It's Woodsboro.
What town is it?
Yeah.
It's Woodsboro.
It's Woodsboro.
Sorry, yeah.
Yeah, so
it's Woodbridge. It's the same thing.
You know
Woodbridge,
again,
Woodsboro.
I
There's
like
wood
being
in
shouted
it.
at.
Make a poll on your Instagram. Come on, guys. You should know Woodsboro.
But yeah, so I think this is the first time we've moved outside of that town for these films.
See, this is what we have today.
You're right. Scream 2 was in college. Scream 3 was in Hollywood.
This is the third time.
And then this is the third time.
Yeah.
You do, yeah. You got
I know stuff. Relax. Don't hand the Matt and Tyler have, this is a little bit of trivia, they directed the Scream 5 and also Ready or Not, which starred, I think, Samara Weaving, who was in this one as well in the beginning. VHS and this movie called Devil's Due.
Okay.
I'm not familiar. But what I was bringing up is the fact that we'll see how this one performs. But Scream 1 in 1996 had a budget of $14 million and the return was $173 million. So I think that was the most that these films have made. Even Scream 5 did that much. So it's interesting to see that this is very much a franchise that defined the genre the same way we talked about Halloween did, but it usually doesn't make that much money. So we'll see. I think the last one made 140 million.
I think I looked up. It was like one of the tables for it. But if you look at all six, their total budget is like 170 million is what they've spent to make these movies. But all together with all six, they've made like 460 million. So I'm like, they've done all right for themselves. Yeah, I wouldn't scoff at 460 million if it turned up in my bank account. But
I mean,
well, cool. Thank you for the background as well. So, how does this start? We're in New York, so are there new rules now? Are there new victims?
As a tagline we open up at some restaurant in New York to a young woman sitting at a bar. She's clearly a little bit nervous. This is her first date, or a date she's waiting on. So she's having a drink. The guy hasn't shown up, and so I think he texts her through the app, whatever app they use. It was some bullshit name. I think it was Bumble or Hinge.
Pretty sure it was Hinge. Hinge drops money like that. Hinge is like, look at it.
Literally, that is not what it was. I don't want to get flagged for Bumble, but no. So she gets a call. Like the guy says he's lost, and so he calls. He said, "Can I call you?" So he calls, and I think you get that exposition on who she is. So she is a film professor at a college, specializing in horror films, mainly slasher. So she gives her background. I think they do the thing from the original Scream movies, like, what was your scary movie? What's your favorite scary movie? I can't remember what she says because it wasn't.
If you're thinking from the movie perspective, that would be a Stab reference, which is the Stab movies are like movies based off of the story from Woodsboro. So the corny line he says.
Are you sure it's not Woodbridge?
It's Woodsboro. I don't.
It is. I feel like there was a G in there.
No, it's Woodsboro. It's Woodsboro. I was thinking of real estate stuff. It's Woodsboro, not Woodbridge.
But yeah, so we get this background where like she's explaining who she is. She's a film professor at some college in New York. Obviously, on the first date. Sorry, he asked her favorite scary movie, and then I think he walks her through the fact that like he's lost, but he also, I think it was frustrating. It was like he defined the fact that she is very familiar with scary movies and the tropes, and the ideas brought up. Ed and I talked about this when we walked out. This idea that I think horror films are the most feminist films, and because it's very much this idea like women win in the end type of thing, right? So it's just like she knows what horror films are, right? So like she can pick out the tropes, pick out the the story beats or whatever. So he tells her that he's lost, and she walks outside to verify the awning on the door that it's red. And then he says, "Oh, I'm in an alley," so she walks to an alley for some fucking
very
reason.
foolish. This entire interaction turning into like for a second.
But I think that's really frustrating. The fact that he kept establishing that she's very familiar with the tropes of horror films, and then walked into.
Well, I want to push back on that though, Cunningham, because I think it's the reason that a lot of critics have issues with horror films, or had issues with horror films, particularly Friday the 13th and Nightmares on Elm Street, is because they often were killing women half naked, or punishing women for having sex. And I think that narrative has kind of shifted a little bit, and modern directors are making a choice to kind of change the way that that's viewed. So I think now definitely women do win in the end a lot more often than they did. But you'll see if you look at 80s and 90s and even early 2000s slashers, women are not. They're very often making very dumb decisions. They're often not able to escape scenarios that they should be escaping. They're and then they're murdered for it at the end, and usually half naked. So I like what they have done recently.
Well,
I'm sorry, go ahead, Ed.
No, I agree because like the virgin always makes it out. You know, like the pure one always makes it out. But any woman that's not pure in a horror movie is getting killed. At least in the past, she's getting killed. Like the slutty friend, I'm putting slutty in quotations for those that can't see. She's the one that's like always getting like murdered. I don't need like when Spotify's like, oh, I'm like, oh, I put it in quotations. But yeah, like. But that friend is always like one of the first ones to get killed. Always. So she's putting herself. She's like, I'm inviting the boy over, and then she's gonna die from it. But but a lot of times like the woman win, at least one of the women winning in the end. But that's exactly as Shae, you said, like the pure one or the one that's not being as.
Think of all our final girls in the history of horror. We can Laurie Strode. Like they're always virgins, and that's changing now.
Yeah, exactly.
Even I think. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Yes, I will. No, I was going to say, I think, you're definitely right. I think my idea was like, since a woman won in the end, I saw that as, more positive. But yeah, it is very much what type of woman won, right? So it's like, all right, so the promiscuous ones, get them out of here. They really like struck down. They really defined what woman is good enough, quote unquote. I'm saying this. For the audience, but it was just like what woman is good enough to survive the ending of the film. Like,
I don't know. It's probably about final girls and them being whores, but no, put the quotations in there.
Yeah. Put in quotes.
Cut that out.
But final girls, whores, got it. Last words from Shae, and we're out.
But so we have our professor, and she's walking into an alley now after being told.
I think that's what was frustrating because of the fact that he was literally telling her, "You know how these films." I think what always pisses me off about movies is it seems like the people in film and television don't watch film and television. So it's like, how are you falling for these traps?
They've never watched Stab. Like the ones in Scream have never watched Stab. That's why they don't know.
I think that's what's more frustrating. Is like, bro, you are a professor. In this genre of film, so you
can also say that's like it's so people see that as movies, but people go down alleys all the time. You just don't think about it because that's a scary movie.
No, I've never gone down an alley just because.
You don't just. I only go
I'm
down
at a tiptoe, but I was definitely in a sprint.
I literally only walk down alleys. I see brightly lit streets, or I see alley. I like there's children.
The more dimly lit,
dimly lit. There's a shadowy figure with a weapon. I'm choosing that every time. All right.
But anyway, so the same lady, the guy calls her saying that he's lost. So she walks out of the restaurant to confirm that it is. It's the awning is red. That's what you're looking for. It's on Hudson. She keeps bringing that up, and he says he's in an alley. So she walks down the alley. And then he starts on the phone. He says somebody's chasing me. He's coming at me. Some type of shit like that.
Also, like bait her down the alley even further.
Once again to bait her down the alley. And once he's in the alley, the guy who's on the phone switches to the classic Ghostface. I think it's the voice. Yeah, voice modulator. Voice modulator. And he attacks her and kills her.
Well, it's like I can't believe you're dumb enough to fall for this. So and then just like he's for a second, and then he just and then he just stabs the crap out. And that was like as first kills go of a movie. That was a solid first kill. Right?
It was very much. What's that movie? I feel like it was Jennifer Love Hewitt that got killed in the alley in a movie. Was it? I Know What You Did Last Summer or some shit like that.
Not her though. It's the person. It's the girl that should have been the final girl in that movie. She's also in Scooby-Doo. That's something you watch, Michael. What's her name though?
That little child thing you watch, you enjoy.
Yes.
Sarah Michelle Gellar. There we go.
Last summer.
I don't know why I got disrespected. I view stuff. Sorry.
Hey, there were some scary Scooby-Doo episodes.
I thought you would.
Come on.
You thought I would know, and I did. I mean, the irony. But
so, back to her in the alleyway. So I keep going back to this because I'm just so curious what everybody else's viewing experience was like. My theater was going nuts, mind you, and I'm. Well, no.
And you were getting stabbed in 4D.
This is the first time you experience it in 4DX. So the whole row, basically gets up and just shakes you. like you have to. And I don't know if any of your listeners know what 4DX is, but basically it's like an interactive experience. So like if someone gets stabbed and there's like blood squirts, they like pour water in your face, or if like
or they go like
not pour,
sprints it
but
at you.
yeah,
It's
if
not
someone gets shot, like they blow wind in your ear. So it was. It's like exactly.
It's like a Disney ride. You know, like those like Disney rides, those like interactive rides where it's like the chair moves. I saw Dune like that.
Ed, you've done 4DX for Dune.
Yep, and that was the same. It was like when person gets stabbed in Dune, like the
Pokes
chair
in the
literally
back.
poked
Yeah.
me in the back.
Yeah.
Like from And I was like,
So I'm curious how, if I watch it again, how I'm gonna feel about it, because I think that definitely may have had some effect on me, but
4DX does add a lot too. I saw Jurassic, the latest Jurassic Park movie. I can't remember.
Jurassic World Dominion.
Yeah, and like I saw that in 4DX, which made it a lot more fun than it would have been otherwise. You know, because like when you're running away from a raptor and it's like, you know, moving, or you're like, oh, I'm in it, but then just sitting there, I don't know. But yeah.
I feel like you're just running like this. It's nothing
bad.
bad.
It's almost annoying. So when like someone's running away, you're just like sitting there hopping. Mind you, I'm trying to take notes. I knew I was joining the podcast. My pen's flying onto the person next to me. My Skittles are all over the floor. I'm like, yo, what the fuck, dude?
She's being the black person in the film. Get out of there! What are you doing?
Back to
All right, so back to the film. Sorry, we're getting the professor gets murdered, and the killer of that professor unmasks himself.
Not a white guy. All right, there we go.
So he unmasks himself. He gets changed. So obviously it was planned. And he walks to a nearby campus, which is it was Blackstone University or some shit like that. I can't remember it. Fictional, yeah. Obviously, I don't think they're accredited. Their degrees mean nothing. But he passes. He interacts with Tara Carpenter from the Scream 5, and they mention a party that they're going to go to, some frat party they're going to go to. He goes into his apartment, and he puts a mask and some shrine to the Ghostface, the Ghostface mask into some shrine. And I think a big thing about this franchise is the fact that there are a lot of people that are, and I think once again the meta thing is fascinated with this franchise. So in Scream, the universe that is Scream is called Stab, but it was like they are fascinated with the Stab franchise in Scream. And then he gets a call from his roommate that he thought was there. I think his name was Jason. And the guy who was the person that is calling from his roommate's phone is using the voice modulator. And he was like, "How does it feel? How did it feel to kill the professor?" Mm-hmm. And I think he was very much like, "What the fuck are you doing?"
Like, "Why are you using the voice? We said don't use the voice on each other." Because like they're in cahoots and they were planning on like killing.
Yeah,
they're like,
and I think this is where you get this background. Was like their plan is they are very much horror enthusiasts, and they are loyal fans of this Stab franchise. And it was like, we're going to. I think they mentioned something about finishing Richie's movie.
Yes. Yeah.
Richie was a character, was the boyfriend from the Scream 5. So they're obviously very much involved in the Stab franchise. They have a quick interaction, not quick. So they have an interaction where he's like looking for his roommate in the house. And he goes to the fridge, and this is where, once again, hopefully I'm not going to ask him.
Mike's definitely the big old covers his eyes with like the fingers open so he can still kind of see. Mike every time he watches these movies.
But yeah, they're playing this like hotter, colder game through the apartment, and he leads them to the kitchen, to the refrigerator, and his roommate is literally diced up and strategically placed in the
dismembered, cut up, like head in one spot,
which I assume is terrifying. I did not see it, so I heard it. And then I think he's also getting chastised for the fact that he killed the professor. So you can tell that it wasn't his roommate that is on the phone. And then Jason gets stabbed by another Ghostface. I think and then we get the title card for Scream 6. Yeah. and then we jump to Sam.
A good
Carpenter.
thing with this, and like just to mention, was Jason's getting stabbed in the back. I think his roommate's name was Greg, or I might be reversing the name. But,
Greg.
But he's getting stabbed, and then he goes and he looks up at Ghostface, and he's like, "But we need to finish the movie."
About movies,
and he's like, "We can talk about the movie."
So dope.
Yeah, that was great. Yeah, I'm like, all right, there you go.
Those characters only existed for that sequence, like, or even just to unmask the killer in the beginning. Because even when I saw that, I thought that was really cool, and I was wondering if they were going to like do it in reverse this time, like they were going to unmask the killer from the beginning, and then you would just follow this person. So I think that the only reason these two characters were even involved was for that reasoning, because.
I think that's interesting because I feel like at least Tony Revolori was on one of the movie posters, and I know he obviously I did my background, so it was like I knew that he was in it, but I was curious as to how much involved he was, because obviously he has a name now because of the Grand Budapest Hotel and Spider-Man. So he's a big name. Same thing with like Samara Weaving. So it's just like, how involved are they in these films?
But I did think that same of like now, and then after we talked to Tara, I was like, oh crap! So we're gonna know, as exactly said, we know Ghostface is in.
I thought they were going to Knives Out, where it was just like the killer, but the characters and how do they maneuver in this. So
then to have that cut out immediately, like as soon as you form that thought in your brain, it just gets cut out of you, literally, because he just gets murdered like that. You're like, okay, that was a really fun thing that they did, where it was like, oh, I'm expecting this, and like they made it look like this was going to happen.
Well, I guess they did that with
That's what I was going to say. That
the first one, where it's just like obviously you have this huge name. Yeah, you have this huge name, so you assume that she's heavily involved. And it was like, no, we're gonna get her out of here. We had a day of shooting. But yeah, so we jump after Jason and Greg, get murdered in their apartment. We jump to Sam Carpenter in a therapy session, and you can tell like she's doing therapy like a millennial. Where like, I'm letting you know what you need to know, my G.
Well, he's also a terrible therapist.
Yeah, he's like, I can't handle this.
Yeah, he was so bad. Yeah. He was asking bad questions. He didn't know anything about her. I'm like, I've done therapy. Yeah, I'm like, that was when I'm like, what a shitty therapist. Yeah. Like, I've had a therapist. They were like at all. I'd be like, fuck this guy. Yeah. Yeah, ridiculous. Yeah.
But anyway, so she's in therapy, and he's very much expositing the fact that she hasn't talked about herself. She's talked about her sister and what happened the year before. So we learned that this is a year after Scream 5. And then the incidents that happened in Willingsboro, where the fuck they were. I'm gonna get it wrong. I said what I said, and I stand by. I refuse to. But she refuses to talk about how she's actually dealing with the trauma of the last film, but she keeps talking about her sister. And so she finally opens up and she says that my dad was Billy Loomis, as if he was supposed to know who the fuck that is.
I think everyone in this world, I think everyone knows.
He was just like, word going. But she admits that her dad was a serial killer, and after killing her boyfriend from the last film, Richie, she does feel this kind of urge to, kill again.
Well, was it that she feels the urge to kill again, or that she kind of liked it that she killed him the last time?
I feel like you're justifying her bad deeds, which is fine. I mean, that's how you identify. That's cool. so glad we're doing this. But yeah, so he says that he needs to report her or some shit like that. Once again, I'm not a therapist, so I don't know the rules. But she leaves that therapy session. She goes back to their apartment where she's roommates with Tara, her sister, and another girl, Quinn. And she finds out from Quinn that Tara is going to a frat party. And you can see that the trauma from the last film of a year ago has hit her. I think the same thing with Nev Campbell in the maybe Scream 4 or something like that, where it's just like they're very. It's interesting that the horror films never focus on the aftermath of what's happened to you type of thing. Like, I think you saw that in Halloween when they did the reboot in 2018, where it's just like, yeah, Laurie Strode is not a regular person no more. Like, she's locked up in her house. Like, I wish you would.
Yeah, she has like the panic rooms and all that stuff.
Which
She's
I think
ready
is
for it.
more realistic than we would even like to admit. Like, most people don't go through. I mean, Nev Campbell or Sydney, that was 3 or 4 times that happened to
Sydney,
her. Like, eventually you would start to crack and carry a gun. And
at this point, it was like, did I do something? Yeah. But yeah, so you can definitely see Sam being affected by what happened to her, and a year ago. So she's like, she's calling her sister. Her sister doesn't answer, and she was like, "You're supposed to call me," type stuff like that. You see her walking past the police at a dorm room. You don't know why. And she goes home. She finds out from her roommate Quinn that her sister went to a frat party, and I think we jump to the frat party, and you see the characters from Scream 5. So there's Mindy and Chad, the twins that survived the last massacre. Mindy's with her girlfriend. Chad is with his roommate, trying to kind of hype him up to go talk to some girl. Hermione. And then you see Tara having an interaction with some frat boy. And so the kegs tap, so they go to get a drink. There's no more drinks. And he's like, oh, I got, some shit in my room. So he kind of invites her to go upstairs. She thinks about it, and then she actually follows him up. And you see Mindy, Mindy talking to her brother like, oh, Tara's drunk. You need to stop her. And it was. I think it was. Obviously, since I went to school, it was a very interesting scene, that exchange between
cock blocking
and protecting his friend and stuff like that. So like he,
so question, and like
we won't call it cock blocking.
I want to know, because I had that thought. I was like, were her friends, roommates, were they doing too much? Because she was very much like trying to go.
I think it's interesting to see. It was like, if you have is there a code that you use? It was like, I'm not as drunk as you think I am.
It seemed very conscious on her part too.
Like, to actually go.
She didn't seem that drunk. If she goes back, she's talking to her sister. She's pretty coherent. Like I mean,
exactly.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it was a bit of cock blocking, but I understand you just went through a traumatic event and you're drinking. Like, we're just looking out for your girl. Like, so.
Yeah. I will say with the frat boy, like, technically speaking, he didn't do like anything wrong until the end. Once he like grabbed her and yanked her, okay, you fucking overstepped. All right, fuck. Yeah, but up to that point.
But I think it's one of those things they needed to make him a villain. They needed to make him a villain, because it was like everything else was. But also, it might be just true to life. Where it's just like that is how it happened.
Yeah.
But anyway, so like he invites her up to his room. Chad tries to stop him. They get into a little exchange, and then here comes fucking Sam to tase him in the nuts.
That's assault. that was a little. That's assault. All right, that was a little much.
But yeah, so like she gets her out of there, and you get this as they're walking back to the apartment. All of them. I think this is we talked about this earlier about the idea of expositing things versus showing it. So like you definitely see that. Sam, I think I didn't see Scream 5, but I obviously read about it. In Scream 5, Sam and Tara hadn't seen each other for like 5 years. Or something like that. They were very much what's the word?
They weren't like around whatever. But yeah, like they were out of touch. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like
thank you.
Yeah. There's a fancy word for it. It's on the tip of my tongue.
Yeah, so it's just like Tara saying, it was just like, you were out of my life for 5 years, and now you're literally up my ass. What the fuck is going on? And then like obviously Tara's not trying to deal with the events that happened the year before. Sam is, and you get that exchange. You get that exchange between them, which is fun. And I think they go back to their apartment. I think Tara and what's his name, Chad, have this. This moment where it's just like, obviously they really like each other.
Chad tries to do the exact same thing that he just, tried to fight another dude. I did not like Chad.
Wait, really?
I was like, I'm not a fan of Chad. I was like, what
What?
From like those two interactions.
I was about to say, as I calm my nipples down, how
No,
dare
because
you?
like from those two interactions, I was like, Chad's kind of a douche, like and then from that,
No, I think it's because you let his name
She doesn't like Chad. That's what it
from
is.
that, I was like, yeah, just Chad. No. But it was that I was just like, because after all of that, I was like, okay, I'm like kind of letting him do whatever. But then when he like did that, I was like, what a fucking hypocrite. That's literally.
No, but at least he was like, I'm gonna let you go to sleep. And like at least he did wait for her to say it was like, I'm not as drunk as you think I am.
Yeah.
Type of shit.
Okay.
But anyway, so like Chad and Tara have a moment, and you see there was mentioned earlier that Sam kind of was constantly peeping on the guy next door, but she had never actually talked to him because she was, a little abrasive, not abrasive, a little wary about getting into another relationship because her last
I couldn't
boyfriend
stand
was the
him as
killer
her heartthrob.
of the last film.
Oh, the whole movie. Is that his name?
Oh,
Richie?
No.
Hold on. You talking about the guy from the last film
shirtless
or
guy in the window?
from She-Hulk?
Oh,
He
yeah,
was
no, horrible.
That's the motherfucker from She-Hulk.
I wish they would have wrote him out.
We good.
Like that's how the whole movie I'm thinking he's not a heartthrob. He talks weird.
Or at least made him more
He's a
involved in the plot.
So Shae didn't think he was pretty.
So
that's what I got. So Shae was like, he's not that pretty. I don't get him out of here. That's
Every time he spoke, I was like, oh. I get it. We always need a red herring. In this movie, there was like 7 different red herrings.
That's literally Scream.
Yeah.
The subtitle could be red herring.
Don't like.
Yeah.
I didn't mind it. I liked not feeling like I didn't know this entire film who the killer was. Because at one point I'm thinking it's Kirby. At one point I'm thinking it's the detective.
I think no, it's because at this point they have to
You're
do
looking.
that to you because you're always since they're so meta and they're like bringing shit out. You have to
suspect everybody.
They have to keep you guessing because otherwise you're just like, oh, him, magic, right there
In Scream.
So anyway,
in Scream 5,
they're all in the apartment.
Sorry, just a quick question.
Sorry.
When did they reveal? Like, when was it revealed that Richie and his other girl was the
end?
That was the very end, right? So you have no idea.
But you're
so
thinking
it's the same.
the whole time.
It's
anyway.
always we talk about it. It is that third act.
It's a requel. It was a remake of Scream. So, and in that Scream, it was the boyfriend.
So
you're already thinking that, but they made it so that you don't know because there's 2 killers. So, I didn't like the way it was done in Scream 5. Loved it in this one, but keep going.
Yeah, cool.
I'm gonna rush through.
Why do you like guessing?
So anyway,
don't shut the fuck up.
We're just getting in deeper. Yeah.
I feel like the meta-ness of the guest asking that question is super.
Fast forward, people die. Whatever.
So we get a news report of the murders from earlier from Jason and Greg, and then I think that there was a Ghostface mask left at the scene. So like Sam's like, "Yo, we need to get the fuck out of here." Tara's like, "Winky dink, my G, what the fuck you mean?" So Sam asked their roommate Quinn, whose dad is a detective, to she asked her to call him to see like what's going on, and he tells Sam that her ID was found at the crime scene, so she needs to come in. They go to walk to the police station and get a call from the Ghostface that murdered Jason and Greg, and then they get the iconic. I assume it'll be iconic now, but it was like that a scene in a bodega where it's like they rush in trying to get away from the killer, and he goes and murders everyone that decided
he just
to stay
cleared that room. I was like,
bro, I don't need these shits
I don't even know these bitches. Like, what did I do?
Yeah. That went from 0 to 100.
I feel like there were women that left, and then dudes were just like, "Yo, what we doing here? What's up?"
Just all that.
I was like, you know what? I can get fucking sour cream and onion chips from another spot. Like, it's not that deep.
Exactly. Yeah, man. Fuck, I don't care.
It was also, I think this is the start of me being frustrated with horror movies. It was like, bro, you got a gun. They have no weapons. Yeah. Why are you waiting for them to just walk through? Like, what do you mean?
But how cool was it that he picked up a gun? We can't skip past that.
But anyway, so like they get a call from Ghostface, and then get attacked on the street and run into a bodega. They try to ask for help. get the bodega owner to call the cops. I assume he does before he, meets his grisly end.
You just should have
Go
just
to.
pull the trigger. I mean, like, if any bodega owner worth his salt's pulling the trigger.
We talked about this. How they literally, if I'm going to shoot you, I'm going to put it directly in your face,
and then say, "Hey, hey, hey." Then
don't you dare grab this gun.
Yeah.
But so they get attacked by Ghostface, but they make it out, and then they jump to the they get it not interrogated by the police, but they're in police station, so they assume they're safe.
Yeah, well, Sam's ID was there, right? So the Ghostface left.
Yeah, I said that earlier. That's why they were going to the police station. That's why they wanted them to go, because her
Sorry, we
ID
have
was
to
found at the
really
crime
quick. We
scene.
got to acknowledge the gun
early.
slashers are known. Okay.
Yeah, I was just actually trying to bring that back. Yeah.
Slashers, especially Scream. It's very rare to see a gun in a Scream movie or a slasher in general. Slashers are never guns. So the moment he pulled that shotgun out, and started blasting, my theater went nuts. Like, it was cool.
Yeah. Oh, when
Ghostface
had the gun. Yeah.
I feel like because your theater was like, "What is that? What are we doing here?"
That's not a slasher at all. That doesn't make sense.
Are there more efficient ways to kill people?
Right. He's just rolling. Yeah.
He's like, I didn't even know there was anything past machetes, if I'm being honest. But yeah, so they're in the police station. You meet Detective Bailey, who is Quinn's dad. And then you get an introduction to Kirby Reed, who got assaulted or stabbed in Scream 4 by the killers then.
Ghostface.
And now she's in the FBI, and she's been following the Woodsboro murder.
There you go.
See who's right. I feel like comment in the comments who says it right. But so we get introduced to Kirby. Reintroduced to Kirby because she's been following. She's in the FBI now. She's been following the Woodsboro murders respectively, since it's rehashed. And then we meet Gail Weathers again, who is still a reporter. She wrote a book about the murders from the year before, because obviously Gail's whole career has been the murders that happened with Sydney and then with Sam. So like she's been following the whole thing. And I think this was the interesting thing that it did was, like, in the original movie, Sydney punched Gail in the face. And so Gail was like, "Bitch,
she said,
we've been punched in the face before. What are you doing?" And then Tara came with "But did you see this?"
No, it was great.
Which is really fun. I think that was an interesting. But yeah, so it's like obviously Sam and Tara have a certain vitriol against Gail because she's basically the equivalent of an ambulance chaser. Like her whole career is based on the murder of teenagers. Like she doesn't help. She's literally just fanning these flames.
In the book that she wrote, apparently, because Sam was talking about it, she called her unstable, which I understood the frustration there. Like, Gail, you were there when we were going through all this, and then you turn your back on me and say that I'm unstable in your book.
It's like, you're the author of my narrative, and you made me the asshole in this. Yeah. So I think we jump after they leave the police station, because obviously they weren't interrogated. It was more about keeping them safe.
Yeah.
They go back to the apartment. So you have Sam, Tara, the sister.
Is this after they do their whole big, real super, like the really big?
No, that's what I was getting to. Okay. That. So it's like you have Sam, Tara, Chad, and Mindy,
core 4,
the survivors of Scream 5.
We're the core 3.
The core 4.
There you go, core 3, baby. Yeah.
I think I did really. Honestly, I'm loving Mason Gooding. Obviously, his
Cuba Gooding Jr.
What's his name? Cuba. But he's a really good
charming.
Actor.
He's attractive.
See him coming into his own. We did Booksmart. He was in Booksmart, actually, Ed.
Oh, yes, he was. Yeah.
Yeah, he was the love interest book, but it was like you see the core 4 together. It was just like obviously, Ghostface is back, so we're gonna stay together. And so the core four have a moment. Obviously, the core four being the ones that survived Scream 5. And as they're having this moment, you see Danny, the guy that Sam is hooking up with, sees that Ghostface is in the apartment. And also at the same time, I think there's also that moment where you see that Sam is now the suspect of the murders for Greg and Jason. So it is that where they're trying to avoid TV. So Ghostface is in their apartment somehow.
Yep.
And he
had to just throw that in there.
Sorry. He murdered
somehow. So the movie can happen.
They said, well, look who's inside.
Happen, all right?
This is one of the best sequences in the movie too. Like
right?
this is a very great sequence.
Yeah.
No, it was fucking amazing. Yeah. I mean, he didn't murder how I would murder, but I would never murder someone.
If I was going to do it, I would have done it like this. It would be a lot better.
I was going to say, hear me out. Number one, we're starting at the door.
Because the ending.
I mean, if you're going to get somebody. So
he only murdered 2 people. That's not a lot of murders. All right? 2 murders is pretty like subpar. Right?
People are talking about it, though. He did it. The body count on this technically is low.
Yeah.
He kills. Sorry. So he kills Quinn, the roommate. He kills the guy that she was hooking up with, and then he starts attacking the core 4.
And
Mindy says run, so I think
the girlfriend
Tara and Chad run out of the apartment, and Mindy, Anika, her girlfriend, and Sam are stuck in the apartment.
Quick thing I want to say.
They trap him.
With all of this, Tara needs to stop running and like help out her friends. Like that's literally all Tara did this entire movie, and like it'll happen again later. She just runs, man. She's like, we gotta get out of here, and she just abandons fucking everybody.
The 2 black people said the same thing. Like I'm out. Like I'm Ghost. Follow me.
No. I agree. No, what I was about to say is like the fact that Mindy got cut in the arm and was like, bitch, you got a paper cut on your shoulder. Relax. She was like, I don't know if I'll make it. Somebody give me a Band-Aid. Like, it wasn't that deep. It was a cut on the arm. Your girlfriend got cut in her guts and somehow tried to make it across the goddamn ladder.
That was,
but anyway, so Ghostface... Ghostface attacked them.
The twist. That was when you got the twist. That was the stab twist.
And pulled
it up. That was brutal. Yeah.
That's how you murder people.
It's like the
She said, ow?
Sorry, this is going on so long, guys.
But I agree with you. I think the scenes, I think they did amp up the scenes with Ghostface where it was just like, I think it wasn't over for me as a fan, a person that's not a big fan of horror and gore. I think they did amp up the kill scenes, but it wasn't over the top. Certain ones were over the top, but like the therapist, even when Anika died, when she fell or whatever.
You thought
but it wasn't too
over
great.
the top?
But anyway, so
I love in the face.
I feel like they did that already.
He got stabbed in the
nose.
They
did the stab through the.
Which one?
Yeah. They've done that one already.
Sorry, I know.
We'll get to the therapist in a second. So there we have the sequence. Yeah, no worries. Yeah. So we have the sequence going here. Sarah and Chad come back. They tried to come back, but the door was locked. Did they actually?
No. They were already down there.
But then they
they did try to come back. Yeah, they were outside the door and it was locked.
But it was locked. So then they didn't help out at all because they were useless here. So then they left. Another negative on Chad. Just throwing that out there. He's like plenty charming.
No, he's Mark Wahlberg in the situation. He's like, I could have stopped all of this.
Yeah, that's right.
Come on.
If I was in Chad's shoes, I would have done a lot better. All I'm saying. All right.
But anyway, so we get they climb across the.
So yeah, it's locked in. The guy across helps. He has a ladder. He like pushes it across through the windows. So for
so they climb across the apartment, but Anika, Mindy's girlfriend, doesn't make it. There's the only one that doesn't make it. So now you literally, Quinn and Anika are dead.
Yeah, and Quinn's.
Oh, sorry, I apologize. I think so. To back it up, this is the meta-ness of it. right before they bunker themselves into the apartment, you have Mindy and Kirby kind of being super meta. So it's like Mindy gives you this background of just like we're no longer in a trilogy. We're no longer in a we're in a franchise.
We're in a franchise now. Everyone's a suspect. No one's safe. Like
it was just like so they were just kind of like because Mindy felt some type of way where like she couldn't figure out who the killer was in the last film. That's how she got stabbed. Because in Scream 5, both Mindy and Chad got stabbed, but being stabbed means nothing in these films.
Not at all. Yeah. So, getting back, I liked when the latter. I'm sorry, the girlfriend's name Anika.
Yes.
Yeah. When like you could tell for a second, I was just like, why doesn't he just tip the ladder? But it's because he was like playing with her and messing with her when he was just like shaking like that. And that was a pretty like brutal sequence for sure. And to have it like, yeah. Oh, absolutely.
I didn't realize that was in the trailer. Like,
are you watching trailers? Don't watch trailers
that scene was in the trailer.
No,
it wasn't until like maybe yesterday. So it was after I had seen it.
Yeah. Oh yeah, but
but it was like, I can see how that because once again it's New York, right? Once again, New York, the rules.
There you go. Everyone knows that's how it works in New York.
But everybody knows we don't got stairs, we got ladders though. That was also very interesting. The fact that this man had a fucking 11-foot ladder in a New York.
In his New York apartment.
In a New York apartment,
but I was like,
space,
for what?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, he has 7-foot ceilings, so if he needs to
question the low. But anyway, so we get So now we just have the core four. Anika and Quinn have been killed. Ethan wasn't there. He said he was in econ, but Mindy is very much like worried about like she's established that they're no longer like the trilogy rules don't matter. It's now a franchise, so anybody can go out, right? Sorry, meta breakdown. I got yada yada.
Yeah.
Oh, so many notes.
Yeah, there right. So now the police officer is like, my daughter's dead. I'm down to help out. Whatever we got to do.
Now so he gets taken off the case because of the fact that now he's too close.
Yeah.
I feel like half of Hollywood is the rogue cop.
Oh yeah,
doing work. Yeah. Off hours because of the fact that. And I think also real quick to go back, as Mindy's giving your breakdown of the Stab franchise, the Scream franchise, so is Kirby. So like in her film, Kirby Reed was the Mindy or the Randy from the original Scream movies, where it's just like she's trying to figure out the logistics of this. So she was just like they realized that at each of the murders. So at this point. Jason and Greg have been murdered. The therapist has been murdered. Quinn and Anika have been murdered. And the DNA, like there's been a mask left.
Yes,
at each of the crime scenes, and the DNA of the killers from the previous Scream movies have been on these masks. So it was just like obviously they're counting down to something. So you see. Kirby giving this breakdown, and you also see Mindy giving this breakdown of like how to interpret the current movie that we're in.
Yeah.
And I think
so how to interpret the current movies and what's going on from there.
So and we get Gail coming back, and she's found she says, "I know you're mad at me." She's been pushing, but she's like, "I know you're mad at me, but doing some investigating, I think I found the hideout of this current." Ghostface. Yeah. So she takes, what is it? It's Sam, Tara, and the core four.
Like all of them
to the hideout. Yeah,
because now they have to keep the other dude. What's his name again?
Ethan.
The nerd, like Chad's
Ethan.
Ethan. Yeah, they have to take Ethan. They don't trust him because, like he had the one alibi, sure, but we don't know, so we got to take him everywhere with us now.
Yeah, so they all go to the this abandoned movie theater, which is the shrine or the hideout of
the
Ghostface.
set piece.
You see
the set piece. Sorry, keep going.
Like I said, I think. No, you're fine. Like I said, this is why you're because like you are.
Honestly, though, I don't want to interrupt before you get here, but we'll talk about it first, and then I'll chime in because I have a lot to say about this particularly. Yeah.
About like the theater.
I think.
No, so I just think it had.
Sorry, go on. Was somebody saying something?
No,
I
I
don't
think
want
it
to cut anybody
had
off. This is very
a
important.
ton of potential, and I didn't watch. I try to stay away from trailers, but this was raising a lot of buzz in the horror film community. And I just think it had a lot of potential. And I think this was my biggest frustration with the film because not that I was upset about how it was done. I think I just wanted more. People that are actual fans of the franchise, like I think I wanted them to just go through a little bit more of the like the different outfits, the different weapons. Like I think I just wanted more, and like it didn't last very long. Gail goes on like a little speech about it, and I was just sitting there like, no, this is such an important set piece. Please dive into this just a little bit more, and they didn't.
Shae wanted more exposition. Yeah. The most fun part of any movie everyone knows is the exposition.
Shae wanted more. Something more than what they did. I just wanted more.
No, walk me through.
Yeah, I don't know. I thought this had so much potential here. I thought that there was afterward we were going to be discussing this particular set piece for a very long time, and it was just a blow in the wind, and it's fine. But
director's cut. 1 more hour just talking this movie. That's what we want. That's what the people want.
She was like, well, I mean, actually, he barely got stabbed with that knife. Yeah, so Gail takes him to the hideout of basically Ghostface.
Yeah.
And so you see that I think it's very interesting. They go to this hideout, and there's a scene where Sam has a hallucination of her dad, because in Scream 5 you found out that Sam's father was Billy Loomis, who was the killer in the original Scream films. That was Sidney's boyfriend. I think this would not piss me off. It was like this would have frustrated me because like there was never any supernatural aspects of Scream, right? It was very much human, like just once again people being assholes, like letting that be. So the fact that she had hallucinations of a motherfucker she never met, number one. And then just hallucinations in general was just like it took away from this franchise. So, but
push back on that a little bit. This happens in 3 as well.
Hallucination.
Sydney in 3, she has a lot of flashbacks and like hallucinations of her dead mom. So I think.
Oh, thank you. No, thank you, because I don't know.
I didn't like it. I was
familiar with the films,
like
but I didn't watch them.
5 or 6 when this happens with Sam. It doesn't work well.
Because I think it takes away from it. It's like in Halloween, where the whole idea of what's his name, Michael Myers, is the fact that he's just some dude. Like that was a whole thing at the end of the movie. It's like you don't know what that motherfucker looked like. But to make in the later films, they made him supernatural. They made him this like fucking
until the last one. Then he's just an old man again, and then
and it was just like you lose what the fuck it actually was. So it was just like the same thing where her seeing visions of some dude she never met. It was like, what the fuck is going on here?
I would say you should actually be worried about, because he might pop the fuck out the window right now and kill us all. Let's stress about him. Yeah. Don't worry about what's going on in your head, girl. Go ahead, Ed.
Yeah.
For me, though, when I saw it with that, is I kind of took it, and yet not from like the supernatural aspect, but kind of looking at it like that's her descent into madness, like because of all this crazy stuff going on in her and in her life.
But it was just like she's descending into a person that she never met.
Well, yeah, but like she's seeing pictures of her father. She's seen.
She literally found out in her teens who her dad was.
Yeah, but like if she like that, if you're like hearing these voices in your head from that, you're just like because she doesn't know that.
No, you're right, but it was I think the problem was they had to make it so it made sense in this franchise.
But like from that,
I know it threw me off. That's all.
For me, I wasn't like I was like kind of ambivalent about it, but I looked at it as like, okay, because she's mentioned that it felt right when she killed Richie, and when she mentioned like this flashback, she's like, I stabbed him 22 times, slit his throat, and shot him in the head, but it felt good or it felt right.
Yeah, how the fuck did she know that? Yeah, what are we doing?
But like from that, like that's her descent into like what's going on with this craziness, you know. But so I was
because even the medical examiner isn't gonna know. Yeah, it was 22 times. Like she's not reading reports.
Everyone knows when you stab someone, you count. Duh. It's like it's a counting game. Like 1, 2.
Yeah,
you know, like,
she
come
had to
on.
have no, because.
But anyway,
even
sorry.
3, the mom stuff, Sydney's mom stuff, it works for some people and doesn't work for others. And I feel like this is exactly what's going on here. Like her.
I think the mom stuff worked. It was the killer who like that didn't work.
Yeah.
in Scream 3.
Yeah.
So for fans. So in Scream 1, it was
Stu.
Sydney's boyfriend and his best friend being murdered because of the fact that
Stu.
Yeah, it was Stu something with an N.
Hit me with
and
the phone,
Billy
dick.
Loomis,
Yeah,
because of the fact that her. But yeah, so it was like in Scream 1, it was Billy Loomis and Stu Macker or some shit like that. But it's because of the fact that Billy's mom cheated on his dad and left. So he punished Sydney for that. And then in Scream 2, Billy's mom came back for revenge because Sydney had killed her son. Billy, excuse me. And then in Scream 3,
they erased
that's
one
when they got
completely.
real introspective with it. Yeah. But it was just like, it was Sydney's half-brother
who motivated Stu to kill, to do everything in number 1.
Yeah. Now, once again, it's we talked about it earlier, Ed, was retconning shit, but it was just like, right. If you go and continue your story, we talked about it with John Wick, and we'll see in John Wick in 2 weeks. But it was just like, you can continue your story, but don't fuck with you already established. And that's what's frustrating. I feel like so many fucking Hollywood IPs. It was like they don't know how to not shit on their own, whatever they have established with the continuation. But anyway, so we're gonna. I feel so bad.
It's a longer episode. It's fine.
Sorry. Anyway. So they're at the hideout. Gail is showing them the hideout of Ghostface. And then, so now that they've decided they're going to lure Ghostface out. So they go to, I assume, Central Park or some park in New York to try to get him to come out. But he's one step ahead of them, so he's not in Central Park. He is all the way at Gail's apartment.
Yeah.
And so we get that. Me and I talk about this because it's super funny with people with guns and knives.
Yeah, it's just like Gail did so fucking well for this entire time. Gail kicked ass, and then like it was a great sequence. Gail's boyfriend dies. She gets away. She gets the gun. Great. Why get out of the fucking?
It's always, once again, if I'm going to shoot you, I'm going to put it directly near you.
Yeah. Look, you have a phone and a locked door he can't come in through. The only way is through this door. You have a gun pointing at that door. Call the cops. Wait a second. Why are you going out there?
Once again, back to the wall.
Yeah.
I feel like that's what I live, by myself. But it was like, if anybody attacks me, my favorite thing is to, once again, back on the wall so nobody can fucking.
You guys are missing the point here. If she backs him to a wall and calls the cops.
I'm so sorry. Smooth dum-dums over here.
Double stabbing scene of Gail. There were people crying in my theater thinking she would die. Like, for fans, that is that moment of the idea. I
think she should have. If I'm being honest, she should have.
The last legacy character. If they're going to.
Especially they did it with Julie last movie, so they should have they didn't even put fucking Sydney in this one. I think it is very much one of those things where they're passing the torch to Kara and Sam.
She actually accused him of sexism. Okay, like she didn't choose to not be.
Yeah, no, we know, but the money.
Like they didn't pay her the money she wanted.
Bruh, the movie cost $35 million,
and they should have paid her.
She was like, "I want $45 million."
We're getting.
The fuck
She's
you mean?
No, we have
all these movies cost less than $40 million.
I don't think she was needed. You pay her.
Hear me out. Was this movie good or not?
She's the reason for all of this. We are getting so distracted.
No, you don't. I wouldn't pay Lori.
We'll have this discussion next week.
All right, focus. Gail's getting married. All right, so back to the thing. So. Sam and Tara try to lure out Ghostface, but he's a step ahead of them. He's already trying to kill Gail.
Yeah.
And so you get the whole scene with him in Gail's apartment. He calls her, what's your favorite scary movie? He kills her boyfriend. Mm-hmm. It's so hard to see the black guy in there, right?
What's the point of putting him as black guy for? Just interracial relationships, like just don't do it.
But yeah, so you do see Gail fighting him off. But she does the stupid thing that anybody with a gun does.
Smart move.
Because you're gonna want to point it directly at the person.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, like the first really smart move she had was when she turned off her phone
She
and
called
him to hear the ring to figure out where he was.
I did.
Super smart.
Yeah,
that was great. I was like, oh, that's so smart. Yeah, I loved that. But then, like, bang, bang, only one side. Well, then shoot the other side. Granted, guns only.
And then she says, and here we go.
Even the back and forth, just, hey, can you hold for a second? And she puts him on hold. That was fucking great, dude.
Yeah, that was great. Yeah, that was awesome. That was a really good.
Because it was honestly, he was right. It was the fact that like obviously you need to be a student of this franchise to understand. Right. It was like Gail never interacted with the killer. Sorry. She was literally the author of all the narrative from Scream 1 to Scream 6, but she never actually interacted with the killers. It was very dope. So anyway, Gail gets stabbed a bunch, but getting stabbed in this franchise means nothing. And so I think Sam and Tara arrive to save Gail before she dies, and now they're sick of running. So like, we're going to trap Ghostface in his hideout, to unmask him. So I think this scene was in the trailer, which was really cool. Once again, bringing up the whole New York aspect of it. So it was just like they decide they're going to take the subway to the hideout.
You know, New York has.
Well, no, the detective told them
to
stay in use public transportation, so you're in a crowd. He did tell them that.
Yeah. I think it was one of those things where like because of the fact that they. No, you're right, Shae. I think it was like they didn't know how. They didn't know if they were being watched by the killer. So it's just like what we're going to do is stay in public because of the fact that one. You're right.
Call the cab. All I'm saying, call the cab. When the cab shows up, as long as Ghostface is the dude in the Ghostface mask isn't the driver, get in the cab. You're good now. All right.
Actually, no, you're probably right because of the fact that it was like you don't know what this motherfucker looks like.
You don't know
and
also
also
in the fucking
because
subway, right?
Mindy brought up the fact that when Tara and Sam were trying to draw out Ghostface, was the fact that Randy, their uncle, had gotten killed by Ghostface in broad daylight.
Yeah.
Anyway,
he's killed people in broad daylight
sorry,
already.
We're leaning towards. So it's like they're going to try to trap Ghostface in his hideout. So they
separated somehow. They're like, wait,
separated. So you have
somehow, Oh gosh, what's going on? Oh, please help me! All right. See, this is where people get real. Like this end, like Act 3, or this part is like when, like now.
We talked about Act 3 was a little frustrating.
Yeah, people are acting dumber, and all of a sudden the rules of like knives and other things don't matter anymore, and like it's fine. You can just get stabbed now, and it's fine.
Once again, getting stabbed ain't that bad, man.
I'm pretty sure it's bad. I'm just throwing that out there. You know, I've never been stabbed.
Once again, you said pretty sure and not you're sure.
Yeah,
so I will live by that.
Pretty sure getting stabbed bad. Throwing that out there. All right? That is the official statement from the Meddling Kids. Getting stabbed bad. All right? That's our official statement.
I feel like there's going to be some kid on the subway. Rambling said, isn't it that bad?
No, we said it was bad, child. We said it was very bad. You need medical attention.
But anyway, so you get the group separated. So Mindy and Ethan get separated from Chad, Tara, Sam, and Danny. And I think I really felt like this scene on the train, it was in the trailer, but it was dope as shit because, I mean, not me. Like, I used to live in New York. I existed with headphones on. It was like, I wish a motherfucker would. I wasn't paying attention, but it was like, it can be terrifying because you do not know who the fuck is. They had to go 10 stops. Yeah. Right? I assume they were going into fucking Brooklyn or whatever it was, but it was just like, Mindy's on high alert. She does not trust Ethan. Obviously, they're separated. So, like, Chad is trying to constantly get in contact with his sister, and it was very interesting because of the fact that because of the murders that have happened in New York, the sale of the Ghostface masks have gone up. So, like, so many people are wearing Ghostface masks, and it was like I thought, honestly, for me, it was cool as shit to.
Yes,
it was a terrifying.
Did you guys
like
see
in the subway
on the train? So, I don't know if it was her, but someone's dressed as the Ready or Not in the Bride. I don't know if you saw Ready or Not. Someone's dressed in that costume. What did I say?
Oh, you mean Samara Weaving? Samara.
Sigourney, not
You said
Alien.
Sigourney.
Sigourney Weaver.
You
But
talking
that's
about
dressed
Ripley?
in the Ready or Not Bride like costume on the train.
Oh, that's
Right,
interesting.
right, right,
Once
right.
again,
So I thought
because
that
they
was like a
directed
cool
that.
little
That's
Easter
cool
egg
as
in
shit.
there. Keep going.
But anyway,
Yeah.
so Mindy is trying to watch Ethan
Yeah.
because she assumes that he is the killer.
Quick question about subway. Just subways in New York. I've ridden on the subway. Do they get that dark? I don't remember them ever getting
When they
like
go
that
into the
pitch black.
tunnels?
No, they do. They do. They do.
Really?
Yeah.
I've looked.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The lights do go out. No,
I've never
Wow.
noticed it.
yeah. The lights do go out.
I've
and
ridden
also
at night.
the
I've never
signal
noticed
also goes out. That's why you sorry, I feel like I'm shouting. That's why you usually link up to the Wi-Fi
it. Okay.
because every station has Wi-Fi,
Yeah.
and you know
Interesting. Okay. I didn't realize you got
some
so
of
close.
that was very very true. But I was like, I assume you can't really
That's what I
stand
was
somebody.
I mean, it's Halloween weekend. People are drunk and asleep. You know, they're not paying attention.
I was about, but it was like so. Anyway,
Yeah.
once again wrapping this, getting so the group is separated. You have Mindy and Ethan on one train,
Mhm.
or like 5 minutes behind the rest of the group. And Mindy gets stabbed by Ghostface
Quite badly.
and Ethan comes over, takes her off the train, and like calls for help.
Mhm.
And like, so she's once again, Mindy is your meta character because her uncle is Randy from the original. So she's like, I had it wrong. I thought you would have killed her. You're not. Yada yada yada. And as she's getting stabbed, you do get the sorry, the core 4 minus Mindy at the hideout. You get the they're at the hideout. They haven't heard from Mindy, but they're locked in. So it's just like how the hideout and the movie theater is situated. There's one way in, one way out.
That's what
And
they
so they're
say, but
holding-
they also
Yeah.
disprove that real quick. It's just,
But
it's like
everyone's
there's only
getting it.
one way in this place. No, there's a lot of ways in. Yeah, it's,
I was about to say, is there several back doors?
even them, they locked it, but like, wait, there's an exit right there. We need to go there.
He said, "Oh, y'all didn't know about the ladder."
Didn't you just say there was no exit or other besides this door? Like,
Once again, we said this
putting
third,
Kirby
this
in
act
charge
3
is not
fumbles
the,
that he.
a little
the
bit.
best choice for that.
yeah, it wasn't the move.
But anyway, so you have Jesus fucking Christ, I apologize.
Yeah.
You have Tara, Sam, Chad, and Kirby, and I
That's it.
feel like there's another one. No,
That's
yeah,
it.
Tara, yeah, there are 3,
And Kirby.
and and Kirby.
Well, you're gonna have Ghostface in a second. You're thinking that?
Your whole sexy mouth. But you have the core 4 minus Mindy and Kirby at the hideout, and they're just waiting for Ghostface to show up. You have a moment where, because obviously it's a shrine to the Stab franchise, so you have Sam going up to her dad's, I guess not mural,
Yeah.
but it's like his
outfit and mask.
Just
with the knife.
exhibit.
exhibit.
Yeah.
We'll give it. But it was like, so she has another hallucination of him saying, it was like, why do you trust this person? Like, grab my knife just to protect yourself. So she grabs a knife.
He said,
his
"Take the knife, kill all of them." She's
Yeah,
like, "Take the knife, kill everyone in here, and then just get out of here." Yeah. She's going.
I think maybe in like
I think they're going that
2-3
direction.
films, she might
I
be
agree.
the
I'd be
murderer.
cool with that.
Michael, I think they're going that
they might be
direction.
leaning-
She's going to be
Yeah.
a killer soon.
Yeah. But anyway, so Sam arms herself with her dad's knife, and then you have another moment with for Tara and Chad where they finally kissed. I think there was an attraction there, but he didn't know how to tackle it. And right after they kiss, Tara gets stabbed by Ghostface.
Yeah.
Chad gets
And
stabbed
Chad, once
35
again-
times, and they miss every single vital
Right,
organ
yeah.
somehow.
First of all, it was 48, madam. No. So what was frustrating is the fact that it was just like all right, so Tara gets stabbed, Chad fights off Ghostface, knocks him out.
Yeah.
And then they continue to
run.
run, and I was just like, so you
Stop running.
It's up, what we do?
Yeah.
So they run, they get chased by Ghostface. Chad is fighting off Ghostface
Yeah.
the whole time. And then you get a second Ghostface, because I think that is a staple in these films. There's always 2.
Yeah.
The third film, and we talked about this earlier, the third film was the only one where there wasn't 2 Ghostface.
Yeah. because he was an overachiever.
Usually there's a Ghostface and an accomplice. The third film was there was only one Ghostface, but you get that second Ghostface, Chad. Gets stabbed a bunch.
He won't say the killers are terrible. They're the worst killers.
Yeah,
he literally looked at them like he looked at them like fucking Gandalf and Lord of the Rings. He was he was just like, guys, get out of here. Get out of here.
He's like, I got this. I'll let them stab me. Yeah. Yeah.
So Chad Gandalfs it. Then we get the final two girls. We get the Carpenter sisters, Sam and Tara, in the movie theater, mm-hmm. and Kirby shows up, and because of the fact, so right before this, goddamn it, we need to wrap this shit up. But right before this, the detective called Sam mm-hmm. after she grabbed the knife, and he's like, "Oh, Kirby got dismissed from the FBI because she went crazy." Yeah. So like, Sam is very terrified of Kirby. Mm-hmm. Kirby shows up really bloody after they had been attacked by Ghostface. So Sam assumes that Kirby is working with Ghostface, mm-hmm. and then you get the detective, and there's a standoff between Kirby and the detective.
Detective shoots the crap out of Kirby.
Yeah. But right as Ghostface is right behind him, yeah. But instead of stabbing him, mm-hmm. Ghostface like lets him live. So you find out. And I think this is why the whole third act falls apart, because it was like you made it so where you don't know the killer, was just like, well, now it don't make sense.
Yeah,
like, it'd be different. It was just like you go back and you were like, okay, but it was just like you literally threw in another character,
yeah,
that didn't make sense to the story. But sorry, now I feel like I'm cutting y'all off.
I didn't mind it. I understand why there may be frustrations towards the ending. I personally didn't have an issue with it.
Yeah.
I was like, okay.
No, I didn't mind it, but it was just like, it's one of those things that was like, make it make sense. It was like Memento or fucking Sixth Sense or something like that. It was like, or Fight Club. It was just like, you watch it again, it was just like, you planted this early.
Yeah.
But I feel like with Scream, it was just like, no, we're going to throw this in on your ass. Like,
yeah, and that was the
out of nowhere.
It felt kind of random to me. Like, I was like, okay, cool. They're the killers. And, it turns out that Richie was the sibling. So with Richie, he was just in Woodsboro without any of his other family members.
He was in California.
No, I think he
sought
out Sam because
Sam. So Sam comes because her sister gets stabbed.
I think the Richie thing they planted, right? So it's like even Quinn was like, she mentioned earlier in the apartment, she was like, when my brother died, my dad was like all up my ass.
Yeah.
So I think they did plan that, but I think the actual detective being a part of it was one of those things where like it's frustrating. It's like a Law and Order episode where you see the most famous person is the killer in that episode.
Yeah.
It's just like why the fuck is what if I'm Cuban Jr. in this episode? Because he's the killer. That makes and I think that's what they did with
right there. Or just them trying to kind of push through. I was like, okay, kind of random, but I guess I get it. You told me he's family. All right, cool, family, accept it.
Yeah, but anyway, so you find out that the detective planned the entire thing. I think he was Richie's dad. Mm-hmm. Quinn was his sister, and Ethan was his brother. So like that family.
That's how family works. Yeah.
Conspired. Gang. But that family conspired to kill Sam because she was the one that killed Richie in Scream 5 a year ago.
Yeah.
And I think that's what frustrated me too, because of the fact that a villain got to exposit. I'm gonna let you know why I'm killing
this whole thing. There's something about a relationship of a man and his first son, and then it flashes to Ethan, and I was like, that's weird. I was like, that was a weird interaction. What happened right there? He's like, I know my son was a killer, but I loved him. I'm like, okay.
So I love when Jenna Ortega's great parenting, Dad. Like, you got your kids fucking killing for you. Like,
yeah, exactly. Exactly.
He said, hey. I sent him to baseball camp, you dickhead. So I did my part. But yeah, so you find out that the detective was Richie's dad. Ethan and Quinn were his siblings, and they conspired to kill the Carpenter sisters.
Yeah.
Because Sam killed, Richie. And then slowly but surely they break off enough so that the sisters can work together to kill them. And then you get this final scene where it's just like, this is another thing we're talking about guns. Mm-hmm. So Sam has a gun. She shoots Quinn.
Yep.
They have this big scene where she lets go of Tara because that is their backstory where like Sam doesn't know any other way to protect her sister than literally to be physically there. Mm-hmm. So she lets Tara go for Tara to kill Ethan.
And Tara gets hard stabbed in the stomach, just very stabbed. But don't worry, she's fine. She's running around doing sprints and jumping.
Being stabbed in these films means nothing.
It means so much for when it happens.
I'm gonna get stabbed tonight just because.
When it happened to Annika, she couldn't move. All right, it was like I can't move, I can't do anything. Tara gets stabbed in the stomach. Yeah, she's just doing.
No, I also love how Mindy got stabbed in the arm, and she was like, "You know what? Y'all gonna have to carry."
Yeah, I'm like, I'm like, all right, get over yourself, Mindy.
But anyway, so there's that scene. So the what happens is Sam runs out of bullets to shoot the detective, so they clash.
Well, he's running at her with a gun. Like
once again, that's how you come up with the firearm.
Yeah, but whatever. Movie's gonna
also so super frustrating because of the fact that he had a fucking ankle gun, as one does.
Mm-hmm. Wait, did you skip Jenna Ortega stabbing?
You do
what's
see
his face in the mouth? Did you skip the?
Ethan.
Is that later? Okay.
That's what. No, that's what. Yeah, we're right here. Whereas
well, that's around that, yeah.
No, right here.
So she drops it. She gets stabbed in the stomach, and then she Tara gets stabbed in the stomach.
She stabs Ethan in the mouth. Mm-hmm. Sam shoots Quinn in the face because I think that's a big thing in this franchise, which is like to kill the killer, you got to shoot him in the head.
Yeah,
that happened in most of every one of the Scream movies. Where they shoot the killer in the head to make sure they're dead. the whole double tap rule. And then Sam dresses up in her dad's Scream costume to kill the detective. Yeah. But at the last minute, instead of stabbing him, she goes, "I'm not my father." This is her separation of the idea. It was like, I'm not a killer. My dad was a serial killer. Yeah. Like, I kill people out of survival. But then she gets a look from Tara, her sister, that goes, "No, this motherfucking."
Yeah, and then she kills the shit out of him.
I didn't see what she did to him to cover my eyes, but
well, because even before that's this whole thing. So let's back up a little bit with Tara stabbing Ethan in the face like that, or in the mouth. That was like brutal.
My theater went nuts.
Yeah, that was awesome. But then going forward, after the detective wakes up again, and that's when Sam puts on the outfit. She stabs the detective like 20, like in the arm. She's like shink 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 shink. He's like on the ground. She's like, "I'm not a murderer."
Murdered the fuck out that.
And he was like, "Bitch, I'm not covering this up with a band-aid."
But yeah, and then Tara's character, Ortega's character Tara, look at her and be like, "No, this guy needs to die." And then just wham! Yeah, that was yeah.
But yeah, so you have and I think right after that, Ethan is still alive from his stabbing in the face. Mm-hmm. He runs to attack them, which I think is a big thing in this franchise. I feel like so he runs to attack them, and Kirby pushes the TV on his head, which is how Stu died in the original original Scream. So the police arrive because she had called Danny away, her boyfriend, Sam's boyfriend. Well, the guy she was fucking. Mm-hmm. She called him away, but he called the cop. I don't want to put labels on people. I'm sorry.
They're in that talking phase right now. Whatever. It's nothing serious.
They're just touching butts, as one does. But the end of the movie, the killers are dead.
Somehow Chad and Mindy lived, which made no sense.
So I think that's what was frustrating. So you find out that so first Kirby lived after being shot. Mm-hmm. Tara and Sam are alive. I was like, cool.
Okay.
And then you find out that Gail survived her stabbing. Mm-hmm. Mindy survived her stabbing.
Somehow.
And then also Chad
somehow survived. Yeah, right?
And I'm just like,
Yeah.
does stabbing mean nothing
Yeah.
in this place?
I think they should have killed one of. I think
Someone
Mindy
should
or
have
Chad or
gone.
both kind of should have died. I think.
It was one of those things like
Yeah.
I mean, they
Yeah.
did it in Scream 5 with Dewey, right? Because Dewey got
And just
stabbed
never
in
died.
every single fucking Scream movie.
But then also,
I didn't realize until I read up on it, but Dewey is apparently
Nice.
impenetrable to fucking.
I think what they're trying to do.
yeah. But this whole thing is sort of like
Until that last one, you gotta stab him twice.
Yeah.
I think what they're trying to do is
But,
create that. So for 4 or 5 movies, five movies, we've had our 3 heroes and heroines. We had Dewey, Sydney, and Gale. And I think they're trying to recreate that in a sense. And also another thing where our characters are really likable. Like, I like the twins a lot. I like Jenna Ortega. I like I don't have any really issues with them, so I think it's one of those things where it's like, we can kill one of these off, but our audience is going to be upset. Like I said, back to my theater, they all cheered.
Well, who gives a fuck?
Yeah.
I think that's the beauty of it, right? It was just like you. I think it's the greatness of early Game of Thrones, right? Where like nobody was safe, so you can tell a great story.
Yeah, I couldn't
because
watch
you
it
know
after
that
Ned
any
died.
one of these motherfuckers could get it. Type of thing.
Once Ned died, I was like, nope.
It was like, well, if you're gonna literally, they played it safe the entire film with a core 4 survive. Get the fuck out of here. What are we doing?
Yeah.
If I know that there's no danger,
Well, that's
in
why I think
your
next
slasher,
time they're going to kill. They're
who
going
gives a
to
shit?
have to kill someone.
Yeah.
I mean,
You
I
only
was
got with
surprised
somebody
Dewey
next time,
went.
though.
I was like, I mean, yeah, that was tough. I was really upset by Dewey. So I think I don't have the connection to these characters that I did have to Dewey and our legacy characters.
And that's what I think. That's when I did the research to the budgets and the returns. It was just like I realized it's like The Room is a very small fan base of people that like Scream. I thought it was, like I said, I put Scream in the same realm as Friday the 13th and Halloween and stuff like that. But I realized it's a lot lower.
Right.
I don't know.
No. They haven't even crossed $1 billion on
What was Halloween,
globally for their movies.
I don't know. We're getting shots anyway. We're 2 hours in here.
Just like, Halloween also has like 13 movies.
Yeah. All right, but so everyone lives. Somehow, Mindy, they let her out of the hospital. They say she barely survived.
Nobody died, but everybody lived, as one does.
Mindy runs out. She's like, "Oh, I'm fine," even though she was like dying a second ago. Tara got stabbed.
Once again,
they don't even take her in the hospital.
I think once again, stabbing means nothing in this franchise.
Stomach stabs mean nothing apparently. And then the mask.
This is why the fact that they brought in guns and that did nothing. What are we doing? It's because of the fact that if I don't point the gun directly at your chest, the bullet's not going to get there. That's just science. Sorry, wrap it up.
Yeah, so how it ends? So Sam has the mask. The mask talks to her a little bit, or is they just?
Yeah. I think, like I said, the frustrating thing for me was the fact that they did this. Apparently, I didn't know this. They did it in Scream 3, but they did it in Scream 5, where it was just like this idea of the entity influencing the next generation. I didn't know that about a Scream 3.
Yeah.
But Scream 5 was like, it was never supernatural to me. It was like very much the same thing with with Jason. It was just like, it could be anybody.
Yeah.
It wasn't so. In the later Halloweens, when they made fucking Michael Myers basically goddamn Superman.
Well, they couldn't make
it doesn't do this. It doesn't have the same effect. But yeah, so the movie ends where the core four is still alive,
and
plus
Gale.
Kirby,
and
Gale, and Sam looking at this mask that she wore from her dad, but she throws it away as if to say, like, she's not the killer that her dad was. Like, yeah, her dad was a serial killer, but that's not her. She killed because of
she's only killed a couple people.
Excuse me, survival. And we didn't see the post credits. I assumed it was something leaning towards Scream 7. Maybe you can speak to
the post credit scene.
But
the post credit scene. You want to know what it is? It's about 7 seconds.
Yeah.
And it's,
what was the post-credit scene?
Oh, crap. What is the new Randy girl's name? What's her name again? Mindy. It was Mindy saying... Mindy. She says, not every movie needs to have a post-credit scene. Cut to black.
They did it like Ferris Bueller. Ferris Bueller did it. She was like, why are you still here? Get out of here. Go.
But yeah. But that is Scream 6. Thank you everyone for listening so far. What we always like to do at the end is revisit our ratings to see if that changed. So Mike, while we were talking about this, 0 to 5, did it change?
3.5.
Like
I said, I think the Act 3 kind of floundered, and it was very much on some villain needing to tell you what happened because there's no way you would have got it right, and there's like being smart. They're like, I think Christopher Nolan does it well. Where it's just like if you watch it again, you'll get it. But it was like no, they had to walk you through it because it didn't make sense.
Fair.
But I did enjoy it up until I did enjoy it up until then. So 3.5.
I'm still solid.
Shae, how about you?
Issues with the third act, obviously, but overall, it's a very good part of the Scream franchise, and I recommend it to anyone. If you guys are listening, just go see it. You're not going to be disappointed. It's fun. At the very least, it's a fun watch.
Quick question: are you rating it that based on the other Scream films, or just in general?
I'm rating it off of the other Scream films.
Fair. Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
No,
I wasn't trying to. It wasn't
yeah.
maybe an.
But it is good though. I love it. I like it a lot.
Yeah.
Okay.
No. It was a solid movie. Yeah, I'm going to stick with my 3.5 solely because if Chad died at the end, I would have given it a 4. But you know, what are you going to do? And no. But no, I mean,
because once again, if I'm getting stabbed, the last thing I'm going to do is look you dead in the eye to make sure you're good.
Yeah. But no, it's like I think as a whole, I thought it was really good. It did. I'm going to say again, it made me want to watch all the Screams. So I'm going to try and get I'm going to try to watch.
Scrums is dumb.
What's up? Yeah, Scrums. I'm going to try to watch all the Scrumses.
Wrong.
Up to this point, but no, it's 3.5 solid movie. I'd say go check it out. And I think hearing especially from a huge Scream fan, like from the franchise, that this is a one of the better iterations we've had in a little while. Is what I kind of got from you,
5
Shae.
wasn't bad. It was well
Yeah.
constructed, but this was better than 5. This was, I gotta see it one more time.
Yeah.
Let me see it one more time before I make these.
I think it's also because it didn't lean on the what happens with a lot of these franchises. They lean on the nostalgia, and it was the same thing with Creed, right? With the Creed 3, they didn't lean on Rocky being in it.
Yeah.
It was his own thing. It was the same thing with Scream 6. It was just like they didn't lean on fucking Sydney being in it. Yeah, they brought in Gail, but she was a very small portion of the whole thing. It's like, what's the point in continuing this if you constantly need that the past to to move on?
Yeah.
But anyway,
cool. Well, awesome, y'all. So, everyone, thank you so much for listening. If you'd like to reach out to us, we are the Two Meddling Kids. So, if you Twitter, Instagram at Two Meddling Kids. If you'd like to email us, we are twomeddlingkids@gmail.com. If you want to share any other movies we should review, what you've been thinking, how much you want Shae to come back if we're a guest in the future, please let us know. And then, Mike, how can they reach you?
I am Days from Legendary on
Shae Rudolph.
Perfect. Shae, how can they reach you?
I think. No, it's just Shae Rudolph on everything. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, same thing.
Perfect. And if you'd like to reach me, I'm at EdHunt77 on Twitter and Instagram. So, again, everyone, thank you so much for listening.
Thank you for having me,
Shae,
guys.
thank you for joining us. And then we will see... Yeah, absolutely. And then, we'll see everyone next week. Catch you soon.